Hello and welcome to pre-conference podcast for Efficient Mining Operations Summit. Today we have a great pleasure of introducing to you our bronze sponsor. I have here with me Johnny Mercer-Royce, Principal Mining Engineer, AMC Consultants. Johnny, thank you very much for joining our podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Albert.
I have here a first question to you. Could you please elaborate a bit more on your role within the company and actually tell us about AMC Consultants?
Sure. So I'll start with the company itself. So AMC Consultants is a consultancy firm that specializes in geological, mining, geotechnical, and metallurgical work to help miners evaluate and develop potential mining projects or to help miners overcome their current operational challenges so that they can become world-class mining operations. So AMC's done over 10,000 projects for over 1,800 different clients in over 100 countries across over 60 different commodities. And my role within AMC is as a principal mining engineer within the advisory function. My background is that I have master's degrees in both mechanical and mining engineering, as well as a diploma in accounting. And my experience prior to joining AMC largely consists of a mix of engineering and financial analyst roles at both open pit and underground gold mines in Western Australia, as well as in the mineral sands and rare earth space. And at AMC, my focus has been within the advisory function, revolving around services like business improvement, benchmarking, and strategic optimization of assets.
Great, thank you for your reply here. I know that for the summit itself, you prepared the presentation, and we're gonna hear more about improving margins and beating the cost price squeeze. I have a question. Why to discuss this topic is timely?
Yeah, sure. So, I guess the topic's called Five Key Levers to Improve Margins and Beat the Cost Price Squeeze. It's going to focus on things like KPIs and getting the most out of your production data, cost management versus cost cutting, mine planning practices to align operations with strategic intent. So I guess why is that timely? Many mining operations are currently facing inflationary cost pressures as a result of both geopolitical risk factors as well as the increase in demand for goods and materials that the world's seen as it's ramped up again since COVID. So these pressures are squeezing margins for mines where commodity prices haven't increased relative to their costs. And it's therefore timely to talk about ways to help operations limit the squeeze on their margins through things like KPIs, cost management, and mine planning practices.
I see, and I have here a follow-up question. What challenges should the industry prepare for in the near future when actually dealing with the cost pressures?
So we generally see that during periods of high levels of uncertainty, operations will continue to face cost pressures, as well as projects will continue to face cost pressures, as well as what we've seen recently with banks and tighter credit controls. Projects are also going to face challenges such as harder access to capital because lenders have a lot of uncertainty too. So it's therefore important to understand the key risks on your project or your operation, or sort of what factors it's most sensitive to, and plan ahead on what you can or can't do to mitigate against the biggest potential risks.
And maybe the final question for our discussion today. So to keep everything more interesting for the summit itself, could you please explain how AMC help with the dealing with costs?
Sure. So a lot of AMC's projects are underpinned by AMC's smart data database, where we've collected extremely granular detail on costs and productivities at multiple mines over the past 20 years, down to individual cost activities or cost elements, or even down to individual pieces of machinery. We've done this at over 190 underground operations over the past 20 years and over 150 open pit operations. And what this does is it enables us to do a wide range of things and assess a wide range of things for operations or projects. So they can be benchmarked against other operations to diagnose areas of inefficiency within operations, or it can be used to assess where operations can get the most value from their assets by changing factors such as production rates, cut-off grades, materials handling methods, and so on. So AMC's Hill of Value strategy optimization work conducted over the past 20 years has shown that by changing things, even just like the cutoff grade policy, can typically improve cash margins and overall project MPV by up to 30%. The industry's also come a long way in the past few years with digitization of mines and a lot more data becoming available at mines and processing plants. So a lot of mines now have access to real-time data gathering, telling us where equipment is and what it's doing. But what we still see in our smart data is that a lot of non-productive time for machinery has still remained the same over the past decade. And the increases what we've seen in productivity have largely been driven by larger equipment or more powerful equipment. And I very much look forward to discussing KPIs in more detail at the conference to help operations increase their productivities.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for your time and sharing a bit here with us ideas and what to expect during the summit. And we're looking forward to meet you in person in Barcelona, basically in the week, right? Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much for having me, Olga.